Hey everyone, and on today's episode, I put out a question again to you all. You gave me answers. We're going to look at your choices for the next James Bond, and that's happening right now. Hey everyone, Henry here. So, I put out another question to all of you asking who is your choice for the next James Bond and why. And you have answered that question, and last time I did a open question to you all, you really seemed to like it, you really seemed to enjoy it, so I wanted to do it again. And what better way to do it than asking the big question on all of our heads, who in our opinion should be the next James Bond. So we're going to look into your comments in a moment here. But before we get started, everyone, can I ask you haven't already, do give us a like, comment and subscribe. We're trying to grow the channel as much as we can this year, so if you can help us, that would be absolutely amazing. Pierce Brosnan, he should do one last movie like Connery did with Never Say Never Again. Do you know what? I can't deny I am definitely in the boat with you about that. Look, everyone knows, I've said this a million times on the channel and I'll never stop saying it, but Brosnan was my James Bond. He is my James Bond. He is my childhood hero icon. He is the person, if I met in real life, I would get all skittish about. And if there was ever the possibility they announced, like, you know, Bond 26 is actually Pierce Brosnan returning as James Bond, I can't deny I would just be so over the moon, so happy, so overjoyed. I think he would still be absolutely amazing, but do I think the likelihood is that's going to happen? Yeah, probably not. Robert Pattinson. It wouldn't happen now he's Batman, but I think he would be great. You know what, John? I have to actually 100% agree with you. Now, Robert Pattinson is an actor, yes, like so many of us, and for those of you who maybe watch the John Campea show like myself, maybe you know him as Twilight Boy, but I saw him in a lot of things like independent, you know, indie movies outside of Twilight, and I always remember him being absolutely amazing in Water for Elements. And then he appeared like in Tenet with Christopher Nolan film, which he was incredible at. And I have to say, when he was announced as Batman, I was very much for it. I thought he'd be great, and he did deliver in it. But I do agree with you. I think now that Rob Pattinson is Batman, that just rules him out completely for the role of James Bond. I might be wrong. I'm fair enough to admit that. But normally producers don't really go for someone who's like already a big star name. But I will happily say this. I think Robert Pattinson would have made a very good James Bond. I'd like to see Michael Fassbender as James Bond. Again, I would 100% agree on you that I think Michael Fassbender would have been absolutely amazing James Bond. I'm going to be honest, I think with him though, his time has passed. If it was back in like 2015 after Spectre, I think he definitely would have been a contender for it, but now I think Michael Fassbender has just unfortunately just grown too old to start the role. I might be wrong, but if they announced again that Michael Fassbender was the next James Bond, I would be a very, very happy person right here. There's so many people actually who could be a really good James Bond. I say to them, surprise me. I feel they surprised us all in 2006 with Daniel Craig, so let's see that again. Do you know what? With that, I can't deny, yes, a nice sort of surprise name might be really cool, might be really fun, might be interesting. However, David, the thing for me is I think with all social media now and how the world's so much more connected, it would be near impossible to surprise us now. There are so many great names being shouted out at the moment. Again, you know, you've got like, I know, Henry Cavill, Aaron Taylor-Johnson. There's some of the big names going around at the moment at the time of this recording. It would be nice for a surprise, but I think it would be very unlikely. And to be fair, didn't they accidentally spill that he was going to be Bond the day before they announced him? I swear there was a thing like when they spoke to Daniel Craig's mother or something. Did I remember that rightly or not? If you know, comment down below. If we're talking real, then Matthew Lewis. If we're talking pie in the sky, Idris Elba. Well, that's a nice, interesting, again, way to look at a real one, Matthew Lewis, or a sort of pie in the sky, Idris Elba. Now, I'm not going to go into should Idris Elba been James Bond or not. You know, that's a conversation for another video if I ever wanted to do that. I do think now, to be fair to say, he has grown too old to start the role, in my opinion. So that, for me, personally, just rules him out on that level. But Matthew Lewis, again, he's an actor I'm not very much familiar with. I have seen him in different things over the years. And yeah, I could see him becoming a James Bond. My only real concern about him at the moment, and this is just a me reason, you might disagree with this entirely. Again, it's all subjective. But so many other names on it, like, you know, names I haven't mentioned already, like James Norton. I feel they really do have a, if you will, cinematic presence. You notice them. And for Matthew Lewis so far, I haven't really much felt his cinematic presence, his gravitas yet. Maybe I'm wrong, but again, great choices there, and keep them coming. My dream pick would be a Brosnan for one final hurrah, or Henry Cavill, but the odds on either happening feel super low. I imagine the next James Bond will be like Craig in 2005, someone who isn't well known, movie star, but does have already an existing following on TV and or stage. For what it's worth, I agree with you. Yeah, I do think the next James Bond isn't going to be a big, massive movie star name, so it's annoying for me, rules out like Henry Cavill. But to me, what you're describing there is perfectly sort of like Aaron Taylor-Johnson, James Norton, Aidan Turner. Those sort of names I think could really be in contention. I do think a lot of like who is cast as the next James Bond does decide a lot on who they get as a director. And again, you're a person like me would love Brosnan back for one last hurrah. And you know what, again, it would never happen, but if it could ever happen, I think that would be heaven opening up and smiling down upon us. So yeah, another person who wants Brosnan back. Hey, why don't we just bring Brosnan back? Something that I always thought would be a good way to cast 007 and his supporting cast going forward is taking from Sam Mendes' 1917. In that film, the high-ranking military officers were played by big-name stars, while the soldiers and corporals we follow in the film are relatively unknowns. I think they should take the same route when casting the next era. M should be played by a big British name actor, someone like Idris Elba or Olivia Colman. Q should be a big-name British TV star who could also have some history in film, maybe Christopher Eccleston. Moneypenny should be played by an unknown since she is a regular person, but Bond should absolutely be played by an unknown, lesser-known actor becoming an undercover spy. Do you know what? I think you might be onto something there. No, I really do. I think it could be interesting to have like an unknown actor, but really surround him like with the who have we got at the moment, like Ray Fiennes as M, or if you had like, you know, as you mentioned, Olivia Colman potentially. That could actually be really interesting. My only issue is would this unknown actor be sort of shown up by all these big heavy hitters? Now, the likelihood is no, I will say that. But it is an interesting dynamic there, and I do like the idea of maybe surrounding big names around this unknown, soon-to-be massive mega movie star. That could be actually quite cool. Henry Golding, not too old, not too well known. Do you know what? I'm hearing a lot of Henry Golding coming around recently. Now, I can't deny he is an absolutely brilliant actor. The thing is with me, I've watched him in Last Christmas, I've watched him in that G.I. Joe movie. I think I've seen, what was the other film he was in? It's Not Everything Ever All at Once. It was I can't remember, it was this romantic rom-com film I was made to watch under duress. And he is a really good actor, but every time I've seen him, I've looked at him and think, do I see a potential James Bond there? Honestly, just no. I think he's got great charisma, I think he's got a great acting presence, and if he was to get James Bond, it would be a good call. But for me, I don't know, I just can't really see him as James Bond. And I know a lot of my friends out there like really think he would be a great James Bond, and they've given me their reasons for it, and I think they're all really, really great valid reasons. I don't know why, but Henry Golding for me is just he's never really clicked with me. Henry Cavill as the reason he could bring some elements from the Pierce Brosnan era into today and be a cold killer, and he looks like he could be James Bond. Well, Jack, Henry Cavill, in my opinion, was born to play James Bond. He's clearly the obvious choice, in my opinion. Some say too obvious that he shouldn't be picked, but you know what? To me, still, no matter what, my favourite to play James Bond will always be Henry Cavill. I desperately want Henry Cavill to be James Bond, even if it's just for one film, because I think that would be so worth it. Well, everyone, that is the end of today's questions and answers. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope I managed to answer your questions really well. I want to know, what are your choices for the next James Bond? Comment down below and tell me your thoughts and feelings about it. Don't forget to watch out as well on the channel post for the next time I put a question out to get your answer as well mentioned. So, as always, everyone, my name's Henry Stevens and I'm the Bond Geek. Goodbye.